Parshah Tetzaveh. In this week's Parshah, we read about the holy vestments of the priests, the Kohanim, and the high priest, the Kohen Gadol. God detailed the instructions for the breastplate, the Choshen Mishpat. God instructed Moses to place the Urim and Tumim inside the breastplate of decision. The pasuk says, "V'nasa Aharon es shemos b'nei Yisrael b'choshen hamishpat al libo b'vo'o el hakodesh l'zikaron lifnei Hashem tamid." And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel on the breastplate of judgment upon his heart when he goes into the holy place for a memorial before the Lord continually. V'nasata el choshen hamishpat es ha'urim ve'es ha'tumim v'hayu al lev Aharon b'vo'o lifnei Hashem v'nasa Aharon es mishpat b'nei Yisrael al libo lifnei Hashem tamid. And you shall put the breastplate of judgment, the Urim and the Tumim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart when he goes in before the Lord. Exodus 28:29-30. It is known that the breastplate contained barely all the 22 letters of the Aleph Beis, as our sages have said. Therefore, when they had to ask a question that used several of the same letters, such as "Shall I go to Bavel?" in Hebrew, that's Elcha Lebavel. You can see the 3 lameds and 2 bases. They'd have to contract them, expand them, and use the letters in that way. The Baal Shem Tov teaches, as related by his grandson, the Degel Machan Ephraim, that there is a special way that each of the letters of the Aleph Beis can be expanded to form all the other letters of the Aleph Beis. For example, Aleph spelled out is made up of Aleph, Lamed, and Afeh. But each of these letters can be expanded. For example, you can get a Mem out of an Aleph, since the middle letter of an Aleph is a Lamed, and Lamed is made up of Lamed, Mem, Daled. And then you can get a Taf from that, because you can go Daled, Lamed, Taf, and then the Taf expands further to a Taf Yud Vav, and so forth. So what he's saying is that in a certain way of combining all the letters, each letter can connect to all the other letters of the Aleph Beis through what they call the miluim, the filling of the letters. It was the art and the skill inspired by divine inspiration of the Ruach HaKodesh of knowing how to use and combine these filling letters that were contained with the stones to get the right interpretation. The Baal Shem Tov explains that this is the explanation of what the verse means when it says Avnei Shoham ve'Avnei Meluim le'ephod ve'lachoshen. The simple explanation is Shoham stones and the filling stones for the ephod of the Choshen that they would fill it in with. But he says that these filling letters are also the filling out letters, meaning the interpretations of how to fill out the letters. What is interesting about his mention of the letter fillings is that he makes it a point to mention that the letter Mem is an exception, in that the filling of Mem doesn't form any other letters. For example, if you fill out Mem, it's going to be Mem. You can spell it Mem Yud Mem. That's one way of spelling it. You could possibly spell it Mem. Yeah, it's just Mem Mem or Mem Yud Mem. And in that way, it doesn't connect to all the other letters in the way that other letters do. And he doesn't explain why. He just said Mem is an exception. And my question was, what is the mystery behind the Mem that it doesn't expand to connect to all the other letters through the Meluim that the other letters do? It seemed interesting that the letter Mem is the very first letter that a Jew pronounces when he or she wakes up in the morning. Modeh ani lefanecha. It is also the predominant sound in the word emuna. And maybe the most mysterious of all, that it is the first letter of the word Mashiach. Have a good Shabbos.